it up.
Hey everybody, it's Doug Green and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and I'm very pleased to have with us the team from Coro Cybersecurity. Heather, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Demi?
Thank you for having.
And Benjamin.
Glad to be here.
All right, well, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity for MSP, for the type of opportunities that can be had.
Yep.
So, but before we get into that, what is Coro Cybersecurity?
Coro is an amalgamation of technology brought into a single stack, rather than sort of like bolting it on and having everything operate as its own independent entity with a middle layer. We try and build everything in so it feels as cohesive as possible. That means we get to keep our COGS at a reasonable level, which means we can then pass that stuff on to our channel partners, who then look after what we call the end of town, where we've got lean IT, SMBs, SMEs, guys that might have a bit of a struggle with their own internal IT, especially SecOps, whether it's time, money, or understanding. Coro was built for those, and that means we've got a whole bunch of stuff under the stack and under the hood. Email security, endpoint, EDR, DLP, a little bit of SASE with VPN, secure web gateway, security awareness training, cloud protection, and very recently we have added backup just to round all that out.
So I got to ask, with all that, forgive me for asking it this way, does it almost scare people off when you tell people all that? In other words, are MSPs almost intimidated by the topic?
Yeah, I don't think it's they're intimidated. I think change for anyone is a difficult thing. I think there's a very common message from channel partners all over the world, and we're fortunate enough to speak to partners all over the world, which is they understand they have a tool sprawl problem. Consolidation is a very big objective for them in their businesses, but the change of breaking these relationships that they once had with vendors for more than a decade, and bringing it into a vendor such as Coro is not intimidating, but I think it takes them a while to come to terms with the fact that this is it needs to be their new norm of business.
And Heather, is there money to be made for the MSP here?
Yeah, there definitely is. I think with what we do specifically, there's sort of two ways to look at it. One, it frees up time for them based off of how our technology works so that they can bring on more clients, or they can actually focus on building out other services for their existing customer base, which both of those, when you take aside just us saving them money on that actual tool spend, that's where I think the real opportunity is for MSPs.
And is what are the biggest business and operational challenges now facing the channel partners?
There are several. I think the biggest one is always, how do you monetize the products and services that you have, not only across security, but across a lot of the other products that you're providing to the market. And that's always going to be a very challenging thing, because it comes down to economic challenges with inflation, resourcing. People costs are very expensive, and technology costs. So how do you monetize your stack to improve your bottom line?
Yeah, I think we see a lot of channel partners potentially wanting to be service vehicles, but really at the end of the day, they're probably just still doing the old resell rub. Their stack is a good stack. It's a stack they've built. It's Gartner top right, whatever that happens to be for them. And they don't quite understand it to the nth degree. Bringing it all together can be quite cumbersome. Their engineers spend a lot of time jumping around in that stuff and losing a lot of time. And at the end of the day, are they selling themselves, or really just selling that software? And I think that's, some of them are starting to come to that realization, and they know that they need to be the service vehicle. Come and buy from me, the channel partner, because I am the channel partner, not because of what I'm selling under the hood.
Yeah.
Now, does this scale? Because MSPs are confronted with really big customers and sometimes very small customers.
Yep. I think that's probably a better question for you on the tech,
side
with scaling.
Scale is absolutely no issue.
Yeah.
Scale is actually one of the easier things we can deal with. Being a SaaS-based platform, SaaS, by default, we currently run on Amazon. We're also looking at expanding that out for some other opportunities. Some parts of the world prefer other backends than others, so we always have to explore that as we breach new markets. But what that means is we can scale very quickly. All of this is very easy to set up. We've built it in. We've tried to simplify it as much as possible. We then have a beautiful rub of AI over the top that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. We run that. We operationalize that. That's our cost to burden. but it all works out for both parties in the end. And what we end up with is something that's very easy to set up, very easy to scale. We've got some incredibly large companies underneath our banner, which aren't in that SMB, SME space, but saw the value as well. But for the most part, we're trying to target those guys that really just need that lift, that for a long time thought, I can't be a target. But they are, you know, they are the drive-bys for phishing attacks and the sort of ransomware as a service type activities that are starting to happen.
Are there trends that you guys are seeing for the MSPs in terms of challenges that they're facing, or maybe no opportunities that they could take advantage of?
Yeah, I think once upon a time, a lot of these smart attacks were really targeted towards large enterprises. I think what we're seeing in today's environment with the rise of AI is the attacks are not based on a specific vertical or a specific enterprise. They are so spread across the sectors that now SMBs are really having to come to terms with how they address these security challenges. So that is the biggest one we see as a vendor, and I think it's a really great position for Coro, because that's what we're built to do, and that's what we're built to solve and help the MSPs and the partners.
So Heather, what's the big message that you have for the MSPs this week at ChannelCon?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and I try to think of it, so I'm on one of the boards, and I try to think of it from a vendor neutral perspective, but really even here at Coro is we're here to help make your lives easier and be a true partner and help you grow your business, whether that's giving advice outside of our product or helping with your actual technology stack.
And what are you hearing back from the MSPs?
Yeah, I think, so I did Genius Cafe earlier today or yesterday. And one of the things that I noticed that was a common struggle is, how do I grow and how do I separate myself from the noise? So I think because when you look at what they do from a day-to-day sort of protecting people, setting up IT infrastructure or whatever, how do I stand out compared to the guy down the road? And I think just people finding their niche, finding what makes them different is what helps them be successful.
Yeah. And we see a lot of people sort of get swarmed or drowned in material that they weren't ready for to deal with. And security is a big one for that, right? Today, nothing's happening. Tomorrow, you're under attack, perhaps, right? And so you've got to follow that little red bouncing ball of threat alerts and noise and telemetry and all this sort of good stuff. And when you're doing it across a number of products and you weren't prepared for that, it can take a very long time. It can take a very long time for your engineers. And these engineers may have been where you were looking to invest in service work instead, which is really the crux of how your goal is to make money as an MSP, right? Rather than, now they all have to sit in front of systems and see if this is anything to worry about or it's just a lot of noise. So at Coro, we try and take a lot of that work out with AI, for example, and just sort of give you the stuff that matters. Being able to do it all in one console also improves that sort of speedability. And we have this discussion with them about let you get back to doing what makes you money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Letting you, let's repeat that. Letting you get back to what makes you money.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So that means, giving them that freedom to not feel like they're going to be burdened and bogged down by security practices, chasing telemetry for, especially these small, medium business and SME clients generally have not the same posture as, say, an enterprise client. And so we're going to see a lot more phishing attacks. We're going to see a lot more of that stuff get clicked through as well. We try and improve on that and help the channel partner by doing things like security awareness training as a part of the platform, right? But at the end of the day, these are the people that these companies have outsourced to for that reason, because they don't have the expertise, which means that expertise has been outsourced. They're expecting a lot from them, and then they have to follow through on that. And as security just sort of amplifies and noise and you get all this telemetry, we've seen it. Myself and Demi and Heather have come from other businesses where we were dealing with larger enterprise, for example. Their noise is just the same, if not more, but they generally have bodies to throw at it. They have money to throw at it. They have time to throw at it. With all of these businesses relying on channel partners, they were expecting the channel partner to have all of that to throw at it. But at the same time, they are also a business that's trying to make money. And that's where we're seeing this resonate quite well, as this workspace security becomes, okay, I can offer you this. It's really easy. My engineers know what they're going to do with it. They're not spending countless hours chasing God knows what at the end of the day. And that seems to resonate. And what we end up with is, and comes back to something Heather was talking about, where how can we potentially address what they need for market. It's not sometimes how well are we priced. It's sometimes how much can I now get out of the fact that I have all of this additional time, energy, and my engineers back, right? Some of these guys run very lean teams because at the end of the day, they still need to turn a dollar. What we might be able to do is turn one engineer who's looking after 10 to maybe 20 clients, maybe into 30 or 40 clients, because now they don't have to chase as much work. So there's a lot of ways that this can pan out in this workspace security sort of exercise.
Especially with partners are talking now about how to monetize AI and what that means to their business. And the biggest questions that come out of these events and conversations is, do I hire more people and throw bodies at it because I need to now bring in a new service? So these are conversations MSPs and partners are having internally, is how do we do things better so we can move our resource or allocate resource time into AI projects, because that is a very different world for an MSP. I mean, it's a different world for us. We weren't born in AI. AI has been kind of brought to us as part of our day-to-day business. So, partners are going to need to look at fine-tuning their businesses so they can allocate those resources where required for AI investments.
Well, I really want to thank you for joining me today for this very brief podcast. Thank you for taking time out here at a busy ChannelCon 2026 conference. Where can we learn more about Coro Cybersecurity?
Yeah, go to our website. It's coro.net. Super easy to get to, and you'll find all the information there. And as always, reach out, connect with any of us on LinkedIn. We're always available to answer any questions.
Wherever you can see us and smell us.
Hopefully not smell us, but
we smell lovely.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, Demi, and Benjamin, thank you very much indeed for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone else.